Hey, good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Alrighty, happy Monday. Hope you had a good weekend. Got a couple things on tap for today. Pull this up here. Hopefully you saw. Turned out having a project due Monday after a busy weekend wasn't going to work out so well. So I did push that back for project 4. That got pushed back till Wednesday. So we'll go over the solution to that big integer class on Wednesday. And we'll do a little more graphical user interface programming as well. So we're finally getting into the fun stuff here, where users can interact with our application rather than just type stuff into the console. And that's where it's more fun. All right, so we'll talk about that today. And the final project as well. We'll be able to talk about that now that we've gotten to graphical user interface applications. Okay, so it should go pretty well. We'll see. My internet was just real flaky for a minute there, but I think I just turned it off and back on, and maybe it's better again. Hey, oh, thanks for the hydration there, Tomowski. Yeah, a little bit of hydration. Uh-oh, my camera froze. My screen's going, but I'm stuck. Oh goodness, it's gonna be one of those days. Yeah, the whole thing just is stuck. Hey, good morning, Palindrome. That's a good webcam like that. Yeah, we're froze. One sec. Hey, did that do the trick? All right, look at that. We can sometimes fix our technology. Sometimes. Awesome. All right. So anyway, yeah, Project 4, our big int class. We're going to do that on Wednesday. So if you have any last minute questions, do let me know. Yeah, I mean, I think OBS is relatively straightforward as to how that works. I've never actually looked at the code or not, but looked at the code or not. That's not really good English. I'm going to drink some more coffee here. All right. So Project 4 is due Wednesday. We'll talk about that there. We're going to spend 2 weeks here in graphical user interface applications. We'll go through 12 and 13. Does coffee really help in programming, Palindrome? Well, coffee is a legal stimulant. So if you need some sort of chemical help to get you up and going in the morning, coffee is a legal route. It's not required for sure. All right, and then we've got the week of 419, 421 for some miscellaneous topics. The week after that, I have set aside just for you folks to work on your final projects. Again, you're welcome to pair up with a classmate on this, but I'm not going to require it this time around, given we're not in person. Yeah, water's great. I don't have any water around at the moment, but I mean, coffee is water. It's just been filtered through beans, ground beans, so it's kind of like soup, right? Double hydration. All right, you're saving up all those points. Triple hydration. Oh man, fallen. I love it. All right. Oh, it's a hydration stream. Well, I finished that cup. I'm gonna have to get some more fluids. All the hydrations. Let's see, what else do I have? Yeah, I finished up my other Perrier. I've got more Soylent, I guess. Oh, dad jokes. I've been saving some good ones. Everyone knows I collect these now, so they send them to me anytime someone finds a dad joke. I've got some Perrier. I'm out of LaCroix. Got some downstairs. Let's see. Where'd that one go? Oh man, I haven't found it in a while. Yes. So we got a little philosophical over the holiday break. Oh no, did the stream? Okay, stream's still going? Let's see. All right, cool. Yeah, it was real flaky earlier. But we got real philosophical over over the break, over the holiday, and I got to thinking, pretty sure no one has ever been in an empty room before. And then we got talking about some famous people who were really smart, like Albert Einstein. Everyone knows he was a genius, but did you know his brother Frank? He was just kind of a monster. All right. Oh man, I need to get some more fluids, all those hydrations. So a couple things we're going to need to start writing our GUI applications. I'm out of beverages at the moment. I'll have to go get some later. So remember we had this big old list of links up here at the top of the syllabus earlier? So we did NetBeans, we did the OpenJDK. Now we're going to need the OpenJFX. And we're going to need Scene Builder. So 2 more links. There's some way to do that. I don't know. I thought it was like automatic, but I'll have to look at that after. I'm definitely not a pro streamer. I just think Twitch is better than Zoom. So that's all. All right, so we're going to go to the OpenJFX and we're going to go to the Scene Builder downloads. Now, depending on if you've already downloaded this or not, we might need to go download a new JDK as well. That's part of the fun. So if you go to OpenJFX and you go to downloads, you don't want this long-term support one. Don't worry about that one. Just forget about long-term support. Come down to latest release here, and you'll notice it's version 16. Now, the JFX version has to match your JDK version here. So if you come over to the JDK, we'll need JDK 16. So you download the zip, unzip it in your OpenDev folder. We're all good. Remember we did this way back when? Same with the JDK. Download the SDK here. It's just a zip file. And then you're going to unzip it in that same OpenDev directory. Okay? So let me find mine. I actually finally cleared up like most of my downloads because I needed room to install CSGO last night. And my computer was low on space, unfortunately. So here we go. Here's my OpenDev folder. So I have version 15 and 16 because we did 15 a while ago last semester, and now 16 is the one out there. So you're going to do the same for the JDK and the JavaFX SDK. I don't actually need that download. Oops, delete. You just right-click, unzip it into this directory. I used to be decent at Counter-Strike. Used to be decent, and now, it wasn't awful, but it was no good, for sure. Got to learn how to aim again and get quick with those reactions. No, I used to be decent with Legal. Was that even the original Counter-Strike? It was years and years ago. I used to play in high school a lot. Even made it into like a Counter-Strike guild, and we had matches, official matches with people. I forget. Man, it's bringing back all the good memories. Anyway, so we'll need the JDK and the JFX to match. So it's important to get the same versions. So 15.01, sure, 16, sure, 15.02, whatever it is, they need to match. You could probably find the older one out here somewhere, but you know, it's a little obnoxious to try and go dig around their website to find it. So we'll just put 16 both places, and it works out pretty well. Once we've done that, now we're going to come over to NetBeans. And I will work on it. I told Dr. Ball I'd do it. So I was working on grading midterms instead of doing another video. But I'm going to put together a YouTube video this week to go over these steps again, just independently, and then we can keep that video around for later. Where's my watch charger? My watch is dead. There it is. Got too many cords here. Alright, so I'll put together another video here, but you guys should be able to follow along. This one's not too bad. Because Dr. Ball had one, but it was back from like version 12 or something way long ago. To how to set all these up. So there's a couple steps we're going to need. Let me close out these projects. Close all projects. There we go. So once we've done that, then we're going to want to come into NetBeans, and we're going to go to Tools and Libraries. So we're going to create a library here. So you go to Tools and Libraries. And what we need to do is we need to add a new library. Now I've got them here already, these FX libraries, but we're going to need to create those libraries ourselves. Okay, so I'm going to say new library, and we'll call it Java FX, like the version number 16 or underscore the version number. I've got them both already. Let me just go delete the one, I guess, and I'll re-add it. There you go. I'll make it Java FX underscore 16. This is my version 16 of the Java FX library here. Okay. We'll say okay, and then it says, well, what do we want to put in the library? All this library is, it's saying, hey, I want a one-click add to add a bunch of these jars. And a jar is just a bunch of Java classes put together. Let's find open dev. Why? I don't know how the alphabet works. There we go. Open dev. So I'm going to find the Java FX SDK version 16. Oh, let's double click it. Inside of lib, that's the libraries folder here. You can find all these jar files. You just shift click. We'll grab them all here, or you can like control click individual ones, whatever. Shift click is my favorite. Everything but source.zip. So you don't want source.zip, okay? That is not the one we want. All right, so grab all those jars, add all of those jars to our library. Okay, so we're just saying, hey, I want a way that I can quickly add with one click. I want to add one library instead of adding all of these different jars every single time. Okay, we say okay. So now we've set up a library we can add to our projects. All right, the next step here, you go to File, New Project, and we tell NetBeans that we want a Java FX application. Now, if you haven't done this yet, all of this stuff is likely gray over here. And when you click Next, it's going to say, oh, I need to go install the module, and it'll sit and spin for a little bit. I did it already. Sorry, I've got other Java classes. So you say next, it'll sit and spin for a little while, and then it'll bring you here. And because we're not using the Oracle Java version here, it doesn't actually let you make a project. So, and I'm fine. We've got workarounds for this. The workaround is not too terrible. And then it lets us use the open source version. So we don't have to use Oracle's licensed edition. Which again would probably be fine for academic use. It's covered, but I would rather just show you the open source version. Because I'm still a little salty that Oracle bought Java and then put a license on it that wants to charge people for it. I mean, I get it. Like you got to make some money somewhere, but I'm still salty. Okay? Because Oracle has enough money. They could have kept it up and running without charging money. All right. Well, once we've done that, then we can just say cancel. We just need to tell NetBeans that we're going to do something with Java FX. We don't need to actually use their NetBeans FX project starters. Okay. So now we'll just do a new project. We'll just go our Java with Ant project, Java application, perfectly fine. We'll call this one, oh man, I lose my folder? GitHub 1500, there we go. This is GUI Hello World. Yeah, I think it's still, I mean, there's tools like around FX to do a lot of the building stuff for you. So like we're going to use Scene Builder, but I think it's a relatively common UI solution still in Java, because we're moving away from Swing more into this FX world. It's got some good tooling around it. Also, hello, random guy. Another random guy. All right, so we made our new project here. Now we need to do a couple things. Okay, now it's going to feel like a lot of things, but we're going to do it over and over and over and over, and it won't be so bad, I promise. So first, we open up our project. We come to libraries here. We haven't used this one yet before. Over in the project, we go to libraries, and you say add a library. And you can probably guess the one, the Java FX one that we just created. We're going to add that library. Again, you want to make sure your library version matches your JDK version. Okay? If it doesn't, you can go to your project properties, and in libraries, you can pick a different Java platform. So if you had only 15 installed, oops, we don't actually want to change, you can go to Manage Platforms, and you can add a platform, and you can tell it, hey, I've got a new Java edition at, here's the JDK 16. Okay, so if you have any trouble, let me know. I can hop on a screen share and get you through it, but add the platform if you need it. So make sure you're on version 16 here. Okay, then in here, we're going to go to the Run tab in Libraries. We're going to go to this module path, hit the little plus here, we're going to add a library. We're going to add the library to our module path run. This is going to make it easier for us to tell the Java virtual machine to load all this stuff up when we run so that it all works. Just a little shortcut here for us. Okay, then over in Run, there's this VM options. We're going to have to give it some VM options here, and I'm just going to cheat because I have this out here already. I just need to go find what it is here again. Let's see. There's one little line we paste in here. Here we go. We're going to paste this line, dash dash add dash modules, space, and a list of modules. We want some Java FX controls and some Java FX Fxml. This is going to load those up, load those modules when we run in the virtual machine, the Java virtual machine. We'll say OK. Does a bunch of stuff. So what I like to do here is I grab all of these little notes and I throw them in to this little demo project. And then I'm always just going to come back to this project every time we start a GUI project, and I can copy this line out to remind me to do all these things. Right? So we have the library, go to Run, VM options, make sure the projects match, add this modules. Oops, this one is out of order. Okay, so libraries in the project, add Java 16, make sure the platform, that's an M there, platform, and the JFX versions match. Right-click the project, go to Run, add this in our VM options, the Add Modules line, and then the Libraries Run tab, add Java FX 16 to the module path. Okay? Once we've done all of that, we've done all the setup work to tell Java we want an FX project and to point it in all the right locations so it can find the right files that it needs. Then we get to do some more magic. Okay? Remember we talked about inheritance last week, and we said that classes can inherit from another class. To do all of this GUI application, we're going to do that. We're going to say we extends application. And now it's going to be upset with us because it doesn't know what application. Well, let's take a look. There's a couple options. Don't do the com sun glass UI application one. That's not the right one you want. You want Java FX application, right? Because we're doing Java FX stuff. So pick on that one. It's going to add the import for you. And then it's going to say, oh, you don't do the things we need to do. Don't implement we are not overriding the abstract methods. We didn't talk too much about abstract methods. We'll get to that next semester. But just for now, we can just go click and say implement the methods. Great, it adds a start method here. So we're overriding the start version here. And we're going to take this out, and we'll throw some more stuff in here. Right, so what we want to do to start here is we're going to paste in a couple lines here. So, and all of these need some more imports. So it doesn't know what a parent is, that's fine. Make sure we're finding the FX versions here to import. That imports for all the FX stuff, and the imports for the FX stuff. See, there we go. Okay, so again, it's a copy paste. The key part here is going to be this Fxml file over here, where we might need to change. And we'll get to that in just a second. So we'll set up a root, we'll set up the scene, we'll set the stage, and we'll show the stage. Okay, we'll get to what all this means later. Don't worry. We're just copy pasting for now. Okay, and we add a bunch of imports, or you could just copy paste the imports in as well. Okay, so this is almost the only thing that goes in our application to start when we're making graphical user interface applications. Okay, the next thing we do now is we come back over to our project, our source package here, and we're going to right click and we want a new Fxml file. Okay, Fxml is just fancy XML, which is just a way of putting information in a file. Now we get to give it a name. So if you just leave it Fxml, it's fine for now. And usually we try and name them something meaningful, but this is just our Hello World project. So we'll just leave it as is, that's okay. We want to make sure we're checking this use Java controller. This part's important. Using a Java controller is going to hook up all sorts of graphical user interface magic for us that we'll see shortly. So make sure you check the use controller. It's going to pick a name with the name of the file, space, or not space, the name of the file, controller. Perfectly fine, let's go for it. We don't need this cascading style sheets, that's more advanced stuff, and we're not going to talk about that at all this semester. We'll get to it next semester briefly. I'm not big on making things look pretty, unfortunately. That's not one of my skill sets. So I'm more about function than form. But yeah, please, I mean, making things look pretty and usable is definitely important. But that's like another whole field of study. So we'll say finish, and it adds two files. It adds an Fxml file, and it adds an Fxml controller.java file. This is the Fxml file. This is just basically XML with some fancy stuff here. It's not a whole lot in here. Now, Mr. Gaddis will show you how you can edit these by hand, and I think that sounds absolutely terrible. Doing that by hand is awful. But you could if you need to. But we have tools for that sort of thing. Okay? And then the controller is pretty much blank. There's not a whole lot in here. Okay? So we don't need to worry too much about the controller. We'll get to that in a second. Just taking out some of these comments because they annoy me. Okay? Now remember that scene builder link I told you about. We're going to go find scene builder and download it. You want the Windows installer. Make sure the scene builder version matches as well. Right? So this is scene builder 16 for Java 16. Scene builder 8 if you're using the Java 8, the Oracle version one. Okay? So we'll download that and install it. And I like to put it in my OpenDev folder. So it asks where to install it. I don't put it in program files. I put it here in OpenDev because that's where I put mine. Wherever you put it's fine. Just you're going to want to know that here in 1 second, because you can come over to NetBeans and you can go to Tools and Options. And you go to the Java section here, and Java has a tab here for JavaFX. And in JavaFX, it can say, hey, where is Scene Builder? And if you tell it where your Scene Builder is installed, it will hook up a launch to edit files right in Scene Builder. This part is fantastic here. Not required, but this is a great little shortcut. So wherever you installed it here, go for it. If you put it in your program files, that's fine. Just go find it. I put mine in OpenDev, so mine's there. What that lets you do is you go to an Fxml file and you right-click and say Open, and it's going to launch Scene Builder. Now, Scene Builder is a graphical tool for building user interfaces. So right now it looks really boring. You'll see a couple sections. So we have the library section. Over the top is all of the components we can add. We have our document section over here on the left, which is everything that's currently there. We have the preview section here in the middle. This is what our graphical user interface looks like. And then over on the right, we get the inspector. This is where we're going to set all the properties of objects. All right, so to do our hello world, we need a couple things. We need, so There's containers, and then there's controls, and there's all sorts of other fun, fancy stuff. Most of what we're going to do is controls and containers. We're just doing some basic stuff. So anytime you're dealing with text, we're going to use a label. So a label is where we're going to throw text on the screen. So we'll put a label out here, and it's got all sorts of cool drag and drop options. The drag and drop doesn't work super well in the virtual machine, unfortunately, but like you can double click on it and it'll go add one, and then once it's in here you can move it around. You can't for some reason drag it out. I don't really know why. But if you have trouble with it, let me know. All right, so we've got our label. Now over here on the right, now we see all these properties light up. So the text here I'm going to take out. I don't want any text to show initially. Then we can change the font if we want. We can do all sorts of fun stuff. Change the size, any option here. Of course, we should set this to Comic Sans. It's the best font out there. Go find that. Comic Sans. And let's make this huge. Let's go like size 64. Okay. So it gives you like, this is where it might go. All right, so we've got a place to put text. So I set some properties, and then I need to go down to the code grouping. So they're all kind of grouped together. I go to the code grouping, and I need to give it an ID. This FX ID is important. This is how I can find this text label later on in my code. So I'm just going to call it a text label. Some people like putting the word label in the ID because it is a label. I'm fond of that, because that way I can find all my labels by name pretty quickly. Some people think it's redundant, which is true, it's redundant, but you know, it doesn't really hurt anything. So I'm going to leave it as text label, and then I'm going to go find a button. Find my button, and I'm going to drag that in down here somewhere. I'll go to my button properties, and we'll change the text to the button. We'll say, click me. We'll change the font too, why not? Comic Sans, make that a little bit bigger here. Size 24, there we go. I want this nice and big, because I have a hard time seeing things lately. All right. We got the button properties. Now we're going to go to code. Now, the button doesn't really need an ID because we're not going to reference the button itself by code. But what we need is this on action section. What on action does is, hey, what do we want to do when we click this button, when there's an action here? And we'll just call it like button click. You can give it any sort of name you want, right? It's not all that particular. So here's the button. It's called button click is our action. So what we get in graphical user interface applications, we're no longer this procedurally driven, we go top to bottom and we're done. Or maybe we have a loop in there, or we do all sorts of things. A graphical user interface application launches and it just sits there. Right? The idea is it puts a screen out and it waits for the user to do something. So we're no longer driven by, I'm going to do this line and do this line and do this line and do this line. I'm going to make the user interface available, and I'm going to wait for users to do something, and I need to respond to those user events. And is my Wi-Fi crappy again? Oh no, it's unstable. That's all right, we're getting there. Oof. Sorry, folks. There was a fresh reboot this morning too. Now, I haven't restarted Comcast though. I haven't restarted the gateway. Is it too terrible? Are we getting there, or is this terrible? I know. Up in the chat for respect for Comcast. Man, yeah, that is sad. All right, it's sort of there. F minus. I can go reboot the router in a minute, but it takes a couple minutes to get back up. So, yeah, shoot, that's unfortunate. All right, let's go do that then. Reboot my router in a couple minutes. So go get some coffee. Okay, we'll call this a quick little coffee break here. And I'll be back in a little bit, folks. Sorry for the trouble. Hydration. Yeah, I'll come back with lots of water. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll be back. I'll call this break time. I'll try some music. What time are we coming back? 10 minutes from now, hopefully. So 10:45 a.m. And we'll give that a shot here. Let me throw some music on. Maybe I need to refresh my library too. We've been doing this, shaping the silence for a while. Gotta get something else.